Today is May 27th, 2012, and thank you again for sharing some thoughts about Robert J. Johnson, who this is our part two of our story. He passed away on May 20th, early morning hours, passed away at John F. Kennedy Medical Center in Edison, New Jersey. He was a longtime resident of Plainfield, New Jersey, and he was 83 years old. His last residence was Newark, New Jersey, and having been transferred to the Woodlands Nursing Home in Plainfield, New Jersey. We're going to go through some of this quickly. Again, I state here that my comments here, we're basing this on written records made available to us based on court documents, being that this was a guardianship matter out of Probate Court, Essex County, Newark, New Jersey, Judge Walter Koprowski, and we're basing it on other written documents that were in reference to this guardianship and guardianship of Robert J. Johnson, and also we're basing it on the conduct of the parties. One of the primary things in the medical care of any guardian, and there's been many complaints all across the country about the way guardianships are run, and there's just a lot of elderly fraud. That's accusations and actually facts of elderly fraud also across the country, not just in New Jersey. And a lot of people are just really upset. They're really sick and tired of the way relatives are being treated. They're sick and tired of the way the elderly are being abused at the hands of judges and lawyers and guardians. So this situation, the accusations against Vanessa D. Taylor, are not really anything new that hasn't been going on for years and years. And of course, Vanessa D. Taylor was the guardian for over 2.5 years of her father. She initially protested being appointed guardian. She did not want to be guardian. And through the 2.5 years, she has just done everything in her power to make sure that certain relatives did not receive information on their father's medical treatment or on his medical care. Question after question, month after month, year after year. Just for a couple of things, the guardian stated very clearly that she was not going to give information out on her father's medical treatment, medical issues, and she would not give information out on the spending of the money of his estate, over $5,000 alleged to be missing or stolen. And this was all brought to the attention of the court, and the court not only tried to ignore what was happening. The latest papers in January accused Vanessa D. Taylor and others of over 58 allegations of fraud. 58 allegations of fraud. And yet the judge turned a blind eye to this. But this also concerned Medicaid fraud, fraud by the Woodlands Nursing Home, fraud allegations against them. And the judge, as I say, not only turned a blind eye, but the judge vowed that he would retaliate. He would retaliate and punish anyone who would seek better medical treatment for Robert Johnson, and anyone who would complain about fraud on his estate. The judge vowed that he would retaliate and he would punish. And he said this in writing, and he said this in court hearings, that he would retaliate against those. So the judge actually needs to be removed from the bench. There's been numerous complaints against this judge, Walter Koprowski Jr., and yet he still sits on the bench. Many times I'm going to act like the part of a person here, and I'm just going to paraphrase and say that I'm going to act the part of the person asking for better medical treatment, and I'm going to act the part of the judge. Your Honor, I'd like to see my father, Robert Johnson, get better medical treatment. Is that possible that I could get some information on that? The judge: Mr. Johnson, I don't think you're a doctor. I don't think you're qualified to ask those questions. Your Honor, I observed my father in August, and I just want to say he was in a wheelchair, but I don't think that was good for him to be in a wheelchair, especially in the condition he was in. He should be encouraged to walk around. And I did observe that I don't really feel he needs to be in the Woodlands nursing home. I think he may need some medical care, but he doesn't need to be in a nursing home. The judge, well, Mr. Johnson, uh, you are not a doctor, so therefore you can't give a medical opinion, so I'm going to have to disregard what you have to say. Your Honor, you're not a doctor either. I don't know why you would disregard my observations, being that I'm the only one who talked to my father recently and was able to observe firsthand what he's going through. Mr. Johnson, excuse me, the judge again. Mr. Johnson, you were told that you need to pay $6,000 to the court. I reduced it to $3,000 because you said that the attorneys were committing fraud, but you still need to pay that $3,000 to the court before you can file anything else with the court trying to seek better medical treatment for your father. Your Honor, I'm not paying $3,000 to anybody. First of all, that order was illegal, unlawful, not based on any law or case law. You never once advised me, gave me any opportunity in violation of my due process rights that I had to go to a hearing. This is the judge. Mr. Johnson, you were told repeatedly that you had to come to this hearing. Your Honor, you yourself said that I was advised that I could go to the hearing. You never once said to me that I had to appear, and then you assessed sanctions against me without me even giving any opportunity, advance notice that this type of conduct could cause sanctions. I didn't have any fair opportunity to respond. Mr. Johnson, I think that your sister is doing a fine job. I think Vanessa D. Taylor is doing a good job as guardian. I note here that the guardian, her own attorney, Shonda Navarro Floyd, told the Supreme Court in September of 2011 that Vanessa D. Taylor was not able to perform the duties of guardian, had not been able to perform the duties of guardian since she was appointed guardian in 2009. Now, there's a contradiction here. Her attorney says she's not able to perform any duties, and then Judge Koprowski says she's doing a good job. So you have to figure it out. But month after month, Vanessa D. Taylor said, I'm not going to give you any information on your father. I'm not going to give you any information on the missing money. The same issue was brought before the judge. The judge refused to address it also. The Carolyn A. Murray, the Essex County Prosecutor, was told about blackmail, bribery, extortion, embezzlement, money laundering, racketeering. These are all crimes. Blackmail, bribery, extortion, embezzlement, money laundering of Vanessa D. Taylor and Judge Walter Koprowski. And yet the prosecutor's office said that they didn't see that a crime was being committed. And I think the prosecutor that I was talking to was actually someone fresh out of high school, and she didn't seem to understand what the word crime means. It's spelled C-R-I-M-E, crime. And Vanessa D. Taylor wrote and said she was going to pull the plug on her father, but of course she had animosity towards her father, and she had an expressed animosity for anyone, against anyone who questioned whether he was getting adequate medical care. There were those who asked that he get a second medical opinion. Vanessa D. Taylor refused to respond to that. There were those who questioned the care at the Woodlands nursing home, that there was some type of outbreak that affected all the residents there within the last, say, 3 months, and a lot of the residents either had respiratory problems or they had diarrhea, all caused by some type of health infectious outbreak at the Woodlands, and yet no one is investigating that. And could that be what was harming Robert Johnson? This is from a letter written to the prosecutor on May 27th, Carolyn A. Murray. My dad, Robert J. Johnson, was murdered on May 20th, 2010 by Vanessa D. Taylor, who admitted in writing beforehand that she would kill my father by disconnecting him from the ventilator machine. Under applicable New Jersey statutes, I ask that Taylor be arrested and charged with criminal homicide in the death of my dad. This is the letter that was written May 27th today to Carolyn A. Murray, faxed to her and mailed to her. On May 18th, a letter was written to Vanessa D. Taylor in reference to her statement that she was going to pull the plug on her father. And this is from part of that letter. I understand that Dad was under physical restraint at the Woodlands because he expressed to me that he wanted to leave the Woodlands and visit me and return home. That would be, come from New Jersey to California. You guys moved Dad out of his home without jurisdiction, saying he would be better in a nursing home. You moved into a hospital now, JFK Medical, saying he would be better there than in a nursing home, but he hasn't gotten better. I am against any hastily cover-up of elderly abuse perpetrated on my father by doctors for over 2 years and by my sister's refusal to keep family members advised of Dad's true condition. Now that the administrators and doctors in nursing home has allowed his health to deteriorate, that he is to be put out of his misery by euthanasia, this is totally unacceptable. So this was written to Vanessa D. Taylor on May 18th. There was no response other than the fact that she decided after that to make the decision to pull the plug without family input. And basically, as I say, over the months, over the years, she expressed an animosity towards her father and an animosity towards those who question, was he getting the best care at the Woodlands Nursing Home? Was Dr. Patricia Barsanti, who refused to give the required medical statements 2 years in a row, Dr. Patricia Barsanti refused to give those physician statements. She refused to state what kind of medical care that Robert Johnson was or was not receiving. Patricia Barsanti, her phone number is 908-755-5400. Of course, at the last minute, when the person is actually being killed, they're going to make up a lot of things that were not necessarily true within the last week or two before the person was brought to the hospital. So you have to read very carefully these documents. Vanessa D. Taylor represented that Robert Johnson could not be on the ventilator for only a small period of time, but that statement is probably not true. It's not based on the facts of how the ventilator machine works. And of course, sometimes patients are put on the ventilator machine, and being on the ventilator actually causes harm to them. In this particular case, Vanessa D. Taylor represented to family members that if he was taken off the ventilator, excuse me, let me go back a little bit to say that there was never any justification given to family members as to how Robert Johnson got to be in critical condition 2 weeks ago anyway, that he would have to go onto a ventilator. There's been no explanation of that, of how that occurred. But when she told family members that he would have to go on, be taken off the ventilator, she said that he would only last a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes. And yet when he was taken off the ventilator, he actually lasted, let's see, I think about, let's see, 11 to about 14 hours he lasted off the ventilator. So, this was the incorrect information that was given out by Vanessa, and I think it was given out to basically intimidate family members. But again, if the prosecutor had arrested Vanessa D. Taylor when the prosecutor was asked to do that, Robert Johnson may have still been alive today. I want to thank all of you for listening and hope that you will fight against elderly financial abuse, elderly abuse that's happening all across this country. Thank you very much. In the name of my father, Robert Johnson.